Hello there guys, it's Joey, and today I'm going to be doing a review video on the Druid Plant Oracle. So I know, in the last few weeks I've received a few Oracle and Tarot decks, and it kind of went like this. So I've been waiting for a few months for the Prisma Visions. Because it was on back order. So I had to wait for a couple of months for them to get it back in, I think it was, and then it was supposed to be shipped at the beginning of March and it was shipped at the end of March. But it came pretty quickly once it had shipped. So in the meantime, I decided to invest in the Wisdom of Trees. And it wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. They're beautiful cards, and I will be working with them in regards to imbuing work, magical work, meditation focus and things of that nature. But the further on I push with my journey, the more I feel that I want even more connection with plants. I have a real love of tree energy, and I can connect to tree energy like crazy. And I can connect to plant energy as well, but I was thinking to myself how quite often I had focal points for other energies and cards, that I enjoy incorporating cards into spell work, very much so. And I didn't have any for plants. And I'd seen this deck before, and I really liked it, but it was a real pain to get hold of. So when I saw they had some on Amazon, I was like, okay. Because I'd had a crappy few weeks with the migraine, as people know, and I needed to cheer myself up, basically. So I checked the images online. There were a couple of images that really sold it for me, and I purchased the Druid Plant Oracle. It was £17 on Amazon. I believe this is a reprint. The original imagery online looks to be slightly more muted in tone, I think, which I'm not sure which I prefer. But if I show you the box, you can see, and if I show you maybe, you see how this colour is a little bit more colour rich. It's easier to see. I know it's a different picture, but it's easier to see, I think, anyway, that the original cards were slightly more muted in tone. That's not a problem though, it's not a problem at all. So the cards are illustrated by Will Worthington. The booklet is Philip and Stephanie Cargom, English. Working with the magical flora of the Druid tradition. So Druid is something that obviously appeals to me and is something I am looking into. But we will talk about the cards and everything. So first and foremost, you get a pretty standard box if you care about these things. It's quite big. It's quite flimsy. Hang on, let's open it. It's the sort of flimsier cardboard style box, you know. Doesn't bother me in the slightest, because most of the time the boxes are a bit naff. The only two boxes that make a real exception to this is the wooden box that the Ogum cards came in, and the Prisma Visions, which the box is gorgeous. So usually speaking, the boxes are pretty standard. Okay. And then the booklet. Okay. So, it has your list of contents, how to use the cards, spreads, interpreting the cards, sample reading, index, further recent resources, etc. So, the book is pretty good, and you get 2 pages for each one. So what we will do is, we'll show you the start, and then we will read the first card as we show it. So in the beginning, that was light. Bridget's blessings, an explanation of Druidry, the physicians of Midvi, the story of Ermid's cloak, search for clues, Caradon's brew, the ancient virtue of plants. So you get snippets of information. Then when you get to the cards, you obviously have the sort of green-grey out version of the cards, upright and reversed meanings in bullet points. You get a little bit of discussion about the plant itself. You then get the upright meaning and the downright meaning. And a little bit, is that a little bit, yeah, a little bit of further information about the herb itself in a separate boxed outline. So, that's the book. I will read to you the meanings of the first card as we go through. So, I'll show you the back first and foremost. So the back has Arwen twice over. Arwen being many things. It's a symbol through rivers. It's a symbol of greeting. It's used as a meditative tool. It's the connection of all things in the Druidic tradition. I don't think they give an actual reference in here in the book as to why they've picked it. It's connected with Caradon, so maybe it's in this part. Caradon is connected with Arwen, as Arwen is known as poetic inspiration. This is by the same people, by the way, that did the Druid Animal Oracle deck, which I did have once upon a time before a lot of my things were taken or thrown out. So there you go. So it has a reasonably plain back, deep green with silver imagery on the back. It's standard, it's not a particularly thrilling back, but this is the reason, part of the reason I wanted these cards. So they're beautiful, they're absolutely gorgeous. The artwork on the cards is something else, it's just bellissimo. And this is part and parcel of the reason I got the cards. I checked out the visuals online before I purchased the cards. This has actually been a deck I've looked at on and off over the years and haven't been able to get hold of it because it was a bit rarer. The original is presumably still quite rare. I'm pretty sure this is a reprint. The colours do seem more vibrant. They're quite large cards, so the only thing I really don't like about them is how thin they are. there's very little laminating, and I just feel like that if you wanted these for divination purposes, they could get torn or bent out of shape so easily. It might not bother some people, it might really truly irritate others. I was not best pleased to see how thin they were, given they're a pain to get hold of and all the rest of it. And I was like, really? They really are quite thin. That's quite disappointing. Again, that's going to be personal preference as to whether or not that is a stickler for you. It may bother you, it may not. I think it's a personal preference thing. For me, I was a little bit disappointed at the thinness of the cards, at the quality of the card that it's on, because such images like this really deserve a little bit more rigidity behind them, just to bring them out, do they not? I don't know. The borders are quite pleasant and in keeping with the theme. Other people pointed out that the white spaces at the bottom of the Wisdom of Trees was quite off-putting. So there's the bottom of the Wisdom of Trees, whereas the plant deck sort of has a almost stone-like, as if it was engraved, I guess, on the bottom, telling you what each particular card is. So this is Agrimony. And you obviously have Silver Birch in the background. And the cards have this beautiful interplay of nature with a hint of Celtic lifestyle in them. So usually the plant is in the foreground, and then in the background there are hints of different bits and pieces for you to really look at. I'm going to read the meanings for the first card and then move on. So we'll just read the upright and reverse meanings for Agrimony. One of the Gaelic names for Agrimony is Druid hen, which has been interpreted as sorrow of the Druids. However, a more complete interpretation would explain that it is a dispeller of sorrow used by the Druids, since Agrimony has the healing properties to help liberate people from depression and lethargy by eliminating negative energy from their aura and their home. If you have drawn this card upright, this may suggest that you are ready to let go of feelings, thoughts or attachments that are no longer serving you. Agrimony brings a sense of purification and liberation that makes you want to step boldly forward into a new phase of life, or perhaps a new job or relationship. Any sorrow that you have been feeling will be dispelled, and whatever negative energies have been lingering in your home or workplace will soon vanish as swiftly as the night vanishes at dawn. Reversed meaning. A feeling of sadness or lethargy may be weighing you down at present. Life may seem to have lost its savour, and you may wish that it felt like spring again. Often such feelings come from attachments that once may have brought you joy or comfort, but now seem to have turned, just as milk that was once nourishing can turn sour. This may mean you need to spend some time spring cleaning your life, both inwardly and outwardly. See if you can really give or throw away unnecessary clutter in your home and ask yourself, do I need this, about everything. Just as physical pain is a sign your body needs attention, so feelings of sorrow and lack of energy may be symptoms of telling you that you need to look after your own needs before the needs of others, or at least till you feel better. By doing this, blockages will clear, negative energy will be dispersed, and you will start to move towards a new phase of life. It's also worth noting that in the next section, with a little bit of history and background, it also tells you that some magical ways in which you can use the herb. So, Agrimony is the perfect herb for a lustral bath taken before meditation, or engaging in spiritual work, or participating in ritual. To make an infusion, pour 750 ml 1 pint of boiling water over 2 teaspoonsful of chopped leaves, and add to steep for 10 minutes. The infusion can be drunk as tea, added to water for cleansing, or poured into the bath, which you can strew with leaves and flowers if you wish. In Druidic magic, agrimony is used as an incense to cleanse the aura and ritual circle. So there you go. It also sort of gives you a little bit of magical practice, a little bit of a hint, a little bit of a push at what kind of magical practice you could utilise the herb for, which I love. I love that they've added that. For me, it is going to be a little bit more about my magical journey with regards to these particular cards, so it kind of ties in really well. So we'll go through some other cards and we will talk about a couple of my favourites as well. So this is Bethany, and this is what I mean by a little bit of a hint of history and lore and things in the background. So you have the plant itself in the foreground and then what looks like a decapitated statue in the background. These are going to be slightly out of order, by the way, because I shuffled them once and then thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So, borage. I'll zoom out slightly. There you go. So you have sort of woven fences here and a blade there. Bramble. I love this. So this actually has the Ogham for Mowen bramble vine here. And I really, really love this because in a lot of modern interpretations, vine is given as grape. And I don't think it's very likely that vine particularly meant grape to a lot of people in the English Isles anyway. For me, it had the bramble energy, and I had problems connecting to vine until I switched my focus from grape to bramble. Burdock. It's lovely. I love burdock. Got a little bit of a hut setting here. Got some dandelion there. Dandelion and burdock. Yum, yum, yum. A lot of people are like, what the f right now. Dandelion and burdock is a drink. I'm not sure how much it reaches overseas, but it's quite popular in England, and I love it. I love it. Celtic bean with some piggies. Chamomile. Clover with a salmon. Some lovely Druidic stone sort of architecture going on in the background with water and rivers and in between places. Comfrey. Cuckoo pint. I have to confess, I have no idea what cuckoo pint is. Fern. Fir club moss. Flax. I love that they've got a use in there. I'll just move some of those out of the way, they just slide a little bit. Garlic. Delicious. Heather. Ivy. And we've got a green man. Juniper. Lady's mantle. I see a lot of that. There's a lot of that around here. Madder. The wonderful mandrake. Right, the next card is one of the cards that sold me on this stack. And it's because they're out of order. But the Guardians. This card really did sell me. I'm a big fan of Silver Birch. A big fan. And there's something incredibly spiritual, otherworldly, connective about this card. And I was looking at it for a while, and this, and I think it was Mugwort, this and Mugwort, and I was like, I need these cards. They're really going to help me reconnecting in a whole manner of ways to really have a different way of interacting with visual stimuli for nature-based learning and spellwork. So the next one is for Miss Bramble. Ange. What does this look like, Ange? The interconnectedness of all things. This is Wolfsbane, which a certain lucky mare has got her hands on. I don't think I will have ever seen Monk's Hood or Wolfsbane or anything like that in a florist in England. But yeah, it smiled. It's actually all of them, I think, isn't it? Wolfsbane, Hemlock, and Henbane. Yeah. So there you go. The poisons. Awesome. Yarrow. Ooh, it would be if with the snake. It's a snake. And then Woad. And Wheat with a Bridges Crossing, which is awesome. Vervain. Vervain's awesome. I love Vervain. Puffball. Primrose. We've got a whole load of primrose outside. I might collect a few before they go. Poppy. Plantain. Nettle. So this is another one that sold me on these cards, which is Mugwort. Isn't that beautiful? There's something regal about this card. It speaks of sovereignty and imposing will and the great orchestra of nature. That's how I feel about that card. Mistletoe. Mint. Meadowsweet. And then you have the Restorers, which is an odd little card with I presume a herbalist. Which pictures rose roots, St. John's wort and valerian. Is a trio of ancient and indigenous plants of the Druid sourcelands, which restore the balance between body and soul. Rose root is found in the mountainous regions of Wales and Scotland, and on coastal cliffs in northwest England. Valerian can be found throughout the countryside, And St. John's Walk prefers dry woodlands and meadows. The card shows a druid healer in her bothy sitting by the fire. It's the only card with a human presence. You also get 3 blanks. Blank. Presumably if you bend one. So there we go, that is all of them. They're not in proper order because I shuffled. I shuffled. Okay, so if you have a real love of nature, if you are following a druidic path or you are interested in a druidic path, if you have a keen appreciation for plant life and you're looking for either some oracle cards, flat out oracle cards, you're just looking for some oracle cards that are a bit different, or you really want some cards that sort of give you a focal point for meditation, or you're thinking, you know, I really want to open up how I connect to plants a little bit better, and I want a card to help me do this, an initial source of information before I connect to the essence of a particular plant. I want a card which sort of relates to the plant and the energy of the plant and some information, and then I can take that information and ingest that information and then go out into the world and connect. Or I want to incorporate card and artistic work into spell work, an altar work, a particular druidic working of some kind. These may very well be the cards for you. I do like them, very much so. I mean, the artwork is beautiful. The artwork is outstanding. Like I said, the only couple of things that irritated me slightly is the thickness is no good. I'm not happy about the thickness. I will put up with it and work around it because I love the imagery so much, but it does knock me a bit. And then it's £17, so it's not as expensive as some things are, but it's still on the side for oracle cards, but they are a bit rarer, which is why they were a bit more, and I was just happy to be able to get some. So for me, that factors in. Of course, when you pay that much, you don't pay any shipping because it goes through Amazon, so there's that. Because you pay, I think it's over £15, you don't pay any shipping with Amazon. Is that right? Is that the right amount? I believe so. All in all, I do recommend them. I think they're beautiful. I think they're going to really help me with connecting to a plant energy on a whole different sense, creating different spell setups and things of that nature. So that's it for this video, and that's it for Oracle decks for me for the rest of the year. I think I'm not a collector, and I realise this is the 3rd card related video in a couple of weeks, but they're very specific, and my reasons for getting the 2 Oracle decks are very specific. The tarot deck is one of 3, and I will probably never, that I work with, that I don't think I will ever work with more than 3 tarot decks, because they are such a complicated thing and they take time and energy, and it's like getting to know a person with a tarot deck as far as I'm concerned. They're so rich and layered that it takes a lot of time and effort. So for me personally, I couldn't have any more than 3 tarot decks. Some people get on with multiple ones, and I have no idea how. But for me, having the plant life and the tree life cards, oracle cards, are going to work in synchronicity and help me with a deeper and more visual stimuli to help me push forward with a path, with the Celtic path. So that's going to be it for this video. Many blessings.